Hey guys, tonight we're stepping back in time, way back, like 40,000 years back, to walk a day in the calloused boots of a Neanderthal, the guttural murmurings of your clan as you slowly emerge from the comforting darkness of a cave. You're not just observing, you are a Neanderthal. Your muscles ache from yesterday's trek. Your hair is tangled with bits of leaf and dirt. This is survival. Every single breath. You probably won't survive this for long on your own, to be honest. But fear not, for now. You have a guiding hand. The world outside is a canvas of muted greens and browns, framed by towering ancient trees. You shiver, not just from the cold, but from the quiet hum of anticipation that always accompanies the start of a new day. The cave mouth, your home, exhales a final puff of warm, smoky air as you step out, joining the other figures already beginning to stir. Of the group, their small, sturdy forms, a testament to the continuation of your lineage. You watch them, a flicker of something akin to pride, or perhaps just a primal sense of responsibility. Each step a deliberate placement to avoid a stumble. The distant call of an unknown bird echoes through the stillness, a melody both beautiful and foreboding. The weather. Will it rain? Will a sudden blizzard descend, trapping you? These are not abstract questions. They are the very fabric of your existence, and gnawing hunger between warmth and the chilling embrace of hypothermia. You are an expert at reading these signs, your very life depending on it. So, before you get comfortable, what time it is for you? It's always fun to see how far these bedtime stories travel. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The scent of pine and damp earth fills your nostrils as you take your first conscious breath of this prehistoric morning. A small grunt escapes your lips as you stretch, feeling the stiffness in your joints, a daily reminder of your demanding life. You can hear the rhythmic breathing of your family, the occasional cough, the rustle of animal hides as someone shifts in their sleep, the relentless world outside. You are part of something larger, something ancient, something profoundly human. The first rays of the sun, still weak and hesitant, begin to paint the cave entrance in shades of ochre and gray. You push yourself up, grunting softly, your eyes adjusting to the dim light. The air is sharp with the scent of damp earth and wood smoke, a familiar, comforting aroma. Your stomach rumbles, a low growl that echoes the emptiness within. Food is the first thought of the day, as it is every day. Survival hinges on it, a constant, gnawing hunger that drives every action. You rub your stiff shoulders, feeling the thick, animal hide tunic shift against your skin. It's crude, perhaps, but it's effective, providing a layer of insulation against the pervasive cold around you. The clan begins to stir with a slow, deliberate rhythm. There's no alarm clock here, just the subtle shift in light and the growing chill. Small children, surprisingly robust even in these harsh conditions, tumble from their sleeping furs, their cries a mix of sleepy complaint and eager anticipation. Older women, their faces etched with the lines of countless suns and winters, are already tending to the embers of the fire, coaxing them back to life with a practiced puff of breath. The crackle and pop of fresh kindling catching fire is a welcome sound, a promise of warmth, and a chance to dry out the perpetual dampness that clings to everything. You watch them, a silent acknowledgement of their vital role in the group's survival. Your role this morning is foraging. It's not the glorious hunt, but it's just as crucial. You grab a sturdy digging stick, its end hardened by fire, and join a small group heading towards the periphery of the camp. The ground is still frozen in patches, making the work harder. You search for tubers, roots, and any last berries clinging stubbornly to frosted bushes. Every discovery, no matter how small, is a victory. A handful of bitter berries, a gnarled root, these are the supplements to the meat that hopefully, later in the day, will be brought back by the hunters. Every rustle in the undergrowth, every snapped twig is noted. Is it a small animal you could snatch for an extra morsel, or something far more dangerous? As you dig, your hands, already calloused and strong, work deftly. Ignore it. This is simply the way things are. The work is monotonous, yet deeply satisfying in its tangible results. You discover a patch of wild onions, their sharp scent a welcome addition to the blandness of roots. You pop one into your mouth, the pungent flavor a shock to your system, but a welcome one. Historians still argue whether Neanderthals had a truly varied diet or relied almost exclusively on meat, but you know that every bit of greenery helps. You've seen the subtle signs of sickness when the diet is too limited, a testament to the importance of even these small finds. Meanwhile, back at the cave, others are engaged in the perpetual task of tool-making. The sharp, rhythmic clinking of stone on stone echoes faintly through the crisp air. You know the sound well. It's the heartbeat of your technology. These aren't just tools. They are extensions of your will, essential for butchering game, preparing hides, and even digging those stubborn roots. The skill required is immense, passed down through generations. You recall your own lessons, the way your father's calloused hands guided yours, showing you the precise angle, the exact force needed to flake off a perfect edge. It's a delicate dance between brute strength and fine motor control, a true testament to the ingenuity of your kind. A quirky tidbit that often makes you chuckle, if you were to think in modern terms, is how little you worry about matching your tools. There's no seasonal collection of flint knives or designer bone awls. Function over form is the ultimate fashion statement out here. The sharpest edge, the most comfortable grip, those are your priorities. You might find a particularly beautiful piece of chert, its colors swirling like a tiny galaxy, and you'll use it with a bit more reverence, perhaps. But its primary purpose remains utilitarian. You gather your small collection of foraged goods, your rudimentary basket feeling heavier with each addition, a small but vital contribution to the clan's breakfast. The morning has truly begun, and the world is awake with its demands. With the foraging done, your attention shifts. The crisp air now carries a different scent, one that quickens your pulse, the subtle, earthy aroma of large game, faint but unmistakable. The hunting party is preparing to leave. You can feel the tension, a low hum of anticipation that ripples through the group. This is the main event, the cornerstone of your existence. Without a successful hunt, the foraged roots and berries are mere supplements. They won't sustain the clan through the long, lean months. You watch as the most experienced hunters, their bodies lean and powerful, check their spears. These aren't just pointed sticks. They're meticulously crafted weapons, often tipped with finely flaked stone points, hafted securely with sinew and resin. They weigh the balance in their hands, their eyes scanning the horizon, already visualizing the pursuit. A quiet reverence hangs in the air, a silent plea to the spirits of the forest for good fortune. This isn't just a physical endeavor, it's a spiritual one too, bound up in ancient traditions and beliefs about the animals you hunt. Historians still argue whether Neanderthals had complex rituals surrounding the hunt. But for you, there's a definite sense of ceremony in these moments before departure. You are a part of this main hunting party today. You feel the familiar surge of adrenaline mixed with a healthy dose of apprehension. Hunting is dangerous, brutally so. A single misstep, a moment of hesitation, and a charging bison or a cornered woolly rhino could end your life in an instant. You remember the scar on your thigh, a jagged line from a close encounter with a wild boar years ago. It's a constant reminder of the stakes. Your muscles are coiled, ready. You adjust the thong, holding your own simple but sturdy spear, its point a sharp, obsidian-like flint. It feels good in your hand, a familiar weight. The leader of your small hunting group, a grizzled elder whose eyes hold the wisdom of countless hunts, gives a low grunt. It's the signal to move out. You fall into a silent, rhythmic pace, your feet barely disturbing the frozen leaves underfoot. You move through the dense forest, a living shadow, your senses acutely tuned to every sound, every scent. The wind shifts, bringing a fresh, cold blast, and with it, a stronger whiff of game. It's a herd of woolly mammoths, judging by the deep, musky scent. Your heart beats a little faster. Mammoths are a prize beyond compare, a source of vast amounts of meat, hide, and bone, but also incredibly dangerous. One wrong move, and you're just a speck under a massive foot. The hunt often involves incredible patience. You might track an animal for hours, sometimes even days, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. You've learned to read the subtle signs, a snapped twig, a disturbed patch of moss, the faint imprint of a massive foot. Each tells a story, guiding you closer to your prey. You move through a landscape that feels both ancient and alive, a world where every tree, every rock could hide either sustenance or peril. The sun climbs higher, but its warmth barely penetrates the dense canopy. A small bird flits past your face, startling you for a moment. You barely register it, your focus entirely on the task at hand. You recall a quirky tidbit you once heard from an older hunter about how some of the younger, more impatient hunters would try to rush a charge, only to find themselves staring down a very annoyed, very large herbivore. He'd always say, with a wry grin, "The mammoths have more time than you do, little one." It was a valuable lesson in patience and respect for your prey. The group spreads out, forming a loose, silent crescent. You are part of the drive, tasked with slowly, subtly guiding the herd towards a pre-scouted ambush point, perhaps a natural trap, a steep ravine, or a boggy area where their immense weight would work against them. Your breathing is shallow, controlled. The only sounds are the rustle of your furs and the crunch of snow underfoot. The scent of mammoth is now strong, almost overpowering. The thrill is palpable, a primal rush that connects you to every hunter who has ever lived. While the hunting party silently stalks its prey, Your day has taken a different turn. You're back at the cave, the air still cool and carrying the faint aroma of the morning's fire. Your immediate surroundings are filled with the energetic chaos of the younger generation. Today, you are on childcare duty, a role as vital as any hunt. The little ones, a mix of toddlers and slightly older children, are a whirlwind of activity. Their bright eyes and boundless energy, a stark contrast to the quiet intensity of the hunters. You watch them, your gaze softening. One small Neanderthal, barely old enough to walk steadily, attempts to scale a low rock outcropping, his pudgy hands scrabbling for purchase. Another, a slightly older girl, meticulously arranges a collection of smooth river stones, her brow furrowed in concentration. These aren't just games. These are their first lessons in survival, miniature rehearsals for the adult world they will soon inhabit. You move among them, a silent guardian, your presence a comforting anchor. Your primary task is to keep them safe, of course. A fall on jagged rocks, a wander too far from the cave mouth, an encounter with a curious but potentially dangerous animal. These are constant threats. But beyond simple safety, you are also their teacher. You demonstrate patiently how to properly hold a small digging stick, guiding a child's clumsy grip. You show them which berries are safe to eat and which are poisonous, pointing out the subtle differences in leaf shape and color. This knowledge, accumulated over generations, is the bedrock of their future. Historians still argue whether Neanderthals had formal teaching structures, but you know that every interaction, every shared task, is a lesson. It's an organic, immersive education, deeply woven into the fabric of daily life. You pick up a smooth, rounded stone and begin to tap it gently against another, demonstrating the very first step in stone tool creation. The children gather around, their curiosity piqued by the rhythmic sound. You show them how a small flake can be removed, revealing a sharp edge. It's rudimentary, but it lays the groundwork for the complex art of knapping they will master as they grow. One small boy, no older than 4, mimics your movements with surprising dexterity, his tiny brow furrowed in concentration. You offer a quiet grunt of approval, a small smile playing at your lips. It's moments like these that remind you of the profound connection you share with these young lives. The responsibility to pass on everything you know. A quirky tidbit that sometimes amuses you is how the children, despite their rough-and-tumble existence, still manage to create their own forms of play. They aren't just mimicking adults. They invent games. Today, a group of them are pretending to be woolly rhinos, snorting and lumbering around, mock-charging each other with sticks for horns. You half expect one of them to ask if they can have a pet mammoth, but then you remember you're living in a world where every creature is either food or danger, and pets aren't really on the menu. Though, you muse, a well-trained hunting dog might be nice sometimes, if such a thing existed in your world. Later in the morning, you gather the older children for a lesson in tracking. You point out the faint paw print of a rabbit in the damp earth, explaining how to discern its freshness, how to follow its path. You teach them about different animal droppings, identifying the species, and even, sometimes, what they've been eating. It's a sensory lesson, appealing to sight, touch, and even smell. You crouch down, showing them how to read the subtle disturbances in the undergrowth that betray an animal's passage. Their eyes, wide with concentration, absorb every detail. This isn't just theory, it's practical knowledge that will one day mean the difference between a successful hunt and an empty stomach. The sun climbs higher, casting longer shadows into the cave mouth, signaling the passing hours. And the children's boundless energy shows no sign of waning as the sun continues its slow arc across the sky, painting the vast landscape in shifting shades of light and shadow. Your tasks at the cave evolved, with the children now engrossed in their own explorations or napping after their morning exertions. Your attention turns to the essential, yet often overlooked, tasks of preparation and crafting. These are the quieter, more meticulous efforts that underpin the clan's survival, ensuring that every part of a successful hunt is utilized, every resource optimized. You retrieve a large, recently acquired animal hide, perhaps from a deer or a wild goat, its raw surface still bearing the faint scent of its former occupant. This isn't just a piece of skin, it's a future garment, a covering for a shelter, or perhaps even a durable binding for tools. The first step is the laborious process of scraping. You select a broad, sturdy stone scraper, its edge honed to a precise keenness. With rhythmic, powerful strokes, you begin to remove the remaining flesh and fatty tissue from the inside of the hide. It's back-breaking work, requiring sustained effort and a good deal of brute strength. Yet, you perform it with a calm, almost meditative focus. Every scrape brings the hide closer to its usable form, preventing putrefaction and preparing it for softening. The air around you is filled with the subtle scent of hide and the soft, scraping sound of stone on sinew. You pause occasionally to sharpen your scraper, running its edge against a finer-grained stone, a quick, practiced motion. This isn't a task to be rushed. A poorly prepared hide will quickly rot, rendering all the effort moot. Historians still argue whether Neanderthals tanned hides in the modern sense using plant extracts, or if their methods were primarily mechanical, relying on scraping and prolonged working. For you, it's a combination of both: meticulous scraping, followed by hours of rubbing and flexing the hide, perhaps even chewing it to break down the fibers, softening it until it becomes pliable and waterproof. Your jaw aches sometimes from the effort, but the result is worth it. Next, you might turn your attention to bone. The bones of previous kills are not discarded. They are precious resources. You select a sturdy section of long bone, perhaps from a mammoth leg. With a heavy hammerstone, you carefully break it open, seeking the marrow within a rich source of fat and calories. But beyond sustenance, the bone itself holds potential. With a smaller, sharper flint, you begin to carve. You might fashion a bone awl, its point painstakingly sharpened, perfect for piercing holes in hides for stitching. Or perhaps a needle, if you're particularly skilled and patient, though true-eyed needles are rare and often the subject of wonder. These are the surgical tools of your world, essential for crafting clothing that provides vital protection against the brutal cold. A quirky tidbit you often observe is how different individuals have a knack for different crafts. Some are masterful at flint knapping, producing tools of exquisite sharpness and symmetry. Others, like yourself, might excel at hide preparation, turning tough, raw skin into soft, durable material. And then there are those who seem to possess an innate ability to find the best firewood, discerning the driest, most combustible branches with an uncanny sixth sense. Today, as you work, you see a small group meticulously gathering firewood outside the cave. They aren't just grabbing any sticks. They're selecting specific types of wood, recognizing that some burn hotter, some produce less smoke, and some simply last longer. Crucial considerations for the evening's fire. You glance towards the cave entrance, the light inside growing dimmer as the afternoon progresses. The thought of the returning hunters, hopefully laden with fresh meat, fills you with a quiet anticipation. But even if the hunt is unsuccessful, your work ensures that the clan has shelter, clothing, and the means to keep warm. These daily tasks, seemingly mundane, are the threads that weave together the tapestry of your survival. The steady rhythm of your scraping, the satisfying snap of bone as it yields to your tools. These are the sounds of resilience, of a people determined to endure. With the hide slowly softening and the bone tools taking shape, a restless energy begins to stir within you. The urge to move, to explore beyond the familiar confines of the cave and its immediate foraging grounds, becomes strong. Today, your role shifts from crafter to scout. You need to know what lies beyond, what resources might be available, and what dangers lurk in the unseen valleys and hillsides. You arm yourself with a sturdier spear and a small pouch of dried meat, a quick meal for the journey. The world outside the immediate camp feels different now, less familiar, more wild. The air is still crisp, but the sun is higher, casting long, stark shadows as you leave the well-trodden paths. Your senses heighten. Every rustle, every distant cry of a bird is analyzed. You are not hunting, not exactly, but you are still intensely aware of the animal life around you, both prey and predator. You move with a deliberate, ground-eating stride, your thick hide coverings providing protection against the thorny undergrowth and the biting wind. Your eyes constantly sweep the horizon, searching for clues. A stand of berry bushes. Freshwater source. Water is paramount, the lifeblood of any successful exploration. You follow a small stream, its icy water gurgling over smooth stones, hoping it leads to a larger river or a lake where game might congregate. As you venture deeper into unfamiliar territory, the landscape begins to change. The familiar, towering trees give way to more open plains, dotted with clumps of resilient grasses and hardy shrubs. Here, the wind whips with greater force, carrying the scent of distant snow and something else, something wilder. You spot a set of prints in the thawing mud, large, cloven hoofprints, bison perhaps, or even a herd of ancient horses. Their presence is a double-edged sword, potential food, but also a formidable force if startled or provoked. Historians still argue whether Neanderthals actively managed landscapes through fire, but you instinctively understand the interconnectedness of these ecosystems, how the presence of certain animals shapes the vegetation, and vice versa. You climb a low rise, your lungs burning from the exertion in the thin, cold air. From the summit, a breathtaking vista unfolds before you, rolling hills stretching into the hazy distance, framed by the jagged peaks of snow-capped mountains. You scan the expanse with a critical eye, mapping the terrain in your mind. Where are the natural bottlenecks, the places where game might be cornered? Are there any smoke plumes, signs of other hominin groups? This mental mapping is a survival skill, etched deep into your very being. A quirky tidbit that strikes you in a moment of fleeting amusement is how utterly pointless a compass would be to you. You navigate by the sun, the stars, the subtle tilt of the earth, the way the moss grows on the north side of trees. Your internal compass is honed by thousands of generations of nomadic existence, a far more sophisticated instrument than any magnetic needle. You are intimately connected to the land, a part of its rhythm. Not merely a visitor, you discover a small cave, its entrance obscured by dense bushes. Cautiously, you approach, spear held ready. You sniff the air, looking for signs of recent habitation, the lingering scent of smoke, discarded bones, or the distinctive odor of a predator's den. It's empty, thankfully, but it's a mental note made, a potential temporary shelter should you ever be caught far from your home cave. In a sudden storm, the light is beginning to fade, and a chill is creeping into the air, signaling the need to turn back. You mark your path mentally, remembering the distinctive features of the landscape, the way the shadows fall, guiding your return to the warmth and safety of your clan. As the sun begins its slow descent, painting the western sky with fiery hues, a different kind of tension builds back at the cave. The scouts have returned, bringing with them tales of new lands and potential resources. But the air still vibrates with an unspoken question. Where are the hunters? Their absence, prolonged and unnerving, casts a subtle pall over the camp. You find yourself pacing near the cave entrance, your eyes constantly scanning the distant tree line, willing their familiar figures to appear. The younger children, sensing the shift in the adult's mood, become quieter, huddling closer to the warmth of the rekindled fire. Even the older women, usually stoic and practical, cast anxious glances towards the horizon. There's a communal intake of breath every time a shadow lengthens or a distant sound carries on the wind. A perilous gamble, a twisted ankle, an unexpected rockfall, or a sudden charge from a cornered beast could mean disaster. You try to push away the grim possibilities, focusing instead on the hope that still flickers in the hearts of your clan. The scents from earlier in the day, damp earth, wood smoke, and the faint, musky odor of hydesar, now overlaid with the sharp, clean smell of evening air, tinged with the promise of cold. You busy yourself with small tasks, anything to occupy your restless hands and mind. You sharpen a flint knife, the rhythmic scritch-scritch of stone on stone, a calming, almost hypnotic sound. Every preparation, every small act of diligence feels like a silent prayer for their safe return. Historians still argue whether Neanderthals had organized prayer or a developed spiritual life. But you know that in moments like these, there is a profound, unspoken yearning for things to go right, a collective hope projected into the vast, indifferent wilderness. Then, just as the first stars begin to prick through the deepening twilight, a sound carries on the wind. It's faint at first, barely perceptible over the crackling of the fire and the whisper of the wind through the pines. A deep, guttural cry, then another and another. It's the call of the hunting party, but a particular tone, one that sends a surge of relief through your chest. It's the cry of success, not the panicked shout of danger, nor the weary sigh of defeat, but the triumphant roar of a kill. The camp erupts in a sudden, joyful clamor. Children shriek with excitement. Mothers embrace, and even the sternest elders allow themselves a small, rare smile. The tension that had gripped the clan dissipates like morning mist. You, followed by a surge of anticipation. The hunt was successful. Food, precious and vital, is on its way. A quirky tidbit that often makes you wonder is how quickly the mood can swing in your world. One moment, gnawing anxiety over the hunter's fate. The next, unbridled celebration at their success. There's no prolonged brooding, no drawn-out despair. Life is too immediate, too demanding for such luxuries. You live in the stark, beautiful, present, your emotions as raw and unfiltered as the landscape itself. Soon, the first shadowy figures emerge from the tree line, their broad shoulders hunched under the weight of their burden. It's a mammoth, a young one, but still massive. Its woolly hide matted with snow and blood. The sight of it fills you with a profound sense of gratitude and awe. This single beast represents sustenance for weeks, a shield against the relentless hunger. The hunters, weary but triumphant, approach the camp, their faces grimed with dirt and sweat, but their eyes shining with the fierce light of accomplishment. The work isn't over, not by a long shot, but the most dangerous part of the day has concluded with victory. The feast awaits. The air, once thick with anticipation, now crackles with a raw, joyous energy. The mammoth, a truly colossal creature, even in its stillness, is dragged closer to the main gathering area outside the cave. Its sheer size is a testament to the hunters' skill and bravery. This isn't just a meal. It's a bounty, a temporary reprieve from the constant gnaw of hunger that defines so much of your existence. The clan, a swirling vortex of excited chatter and purposeful movement, descends upon the carcass with practiced efficiency. You join the others, grabbing a sharp flint knife. The initial butchering is a chaotic symphony of grunts, the tearing of tough hide, and the rhythmic thud of stone axes against bone. Steam rises from the fresh meat in the cold air, a visual representation of the life force now being reclaimed. No part of the animal is wasted. The thick hide, once removed, is carefully laid aside for future processing. The organs, particularly prized for their nutritional value, are swiftly extracted. You carve off a piece of liver, still warm, and pop it into your mouth. The rich iron taste is immediate and satisfying, a potent boost of energy. It's an acquired taste, perhaps, for someone accustomed to a modern palate. But for you, it's pure sustenance, life itself. As the butchering progresses, smaller cuts of meat are carried to the fire, which has been stoked into a roaring blaze. The flames dance, casting flickering shadows on the cave walls and illuminating the eager faces of the clan. The scent of roasting meat begins to permeate the air, a tantalizing aroma that makes your stomach rumble even more. You watch as pieces of meat are threaded onto sharpened sticks and held over the fire, sizzling and spitting as the fat renders. The heat radiating from the fire is a welcome embrace against the evening chill, a focal point around which the entire clan gravitates. The feast begins. There's no formal seating, no elaborate table settings. You squat near the fire, tearing at a hunk of roasted meat with your strong teeth, juices running down your chin. Conversation is a mix of guttural sounds, satisfied grunts, and the occasional burst of laughter. Children, their faces smeared with grease, gnaw on bones, their small hands surprisingly adept. This communal meal is more than just about satisfying hunger. It's a profound act of bonding, a reaffirmation of the clan's unity and shared success. Every bite reinforces the idea that you are all in this together, that your survival depends on each other. A quirky tidbit that sometimes amuses you is the sheer volume of meat that disappears. If a modern person saw this, they might think it's a competition, but it's not. It's a vital act of preloading. You eat until you are truly, deeply full, because you never know when the next big kill will happen. There are no refrigerators or freezers here. Preservation is limited to drying and smoking, and fresh meat is a precious, fleeting commodity. So, you eat until your belly is distended, storing away every calorie, every nutrient, for the leaner days that are sure to come. It's a primal form of saving, a biological investment in future survival. Historians still argue whether Neanderthals had specific rituals around feasting, beyond the simple act of sharing food. For you, the act itself is the ritual, the fire, the shared meal, the feeling of warmth and satiety spreading through your body. These are sacred moments. As the evening deepens, the sounds of the feast slowly begin to subside, replaced by the contented murmurs of a well-fed clan. The fire, now a glowing bed of embers, casts a soft orange light, transforming the cave into a sanctuary of warmth and companionship. The last embers of the feast glow in the cave, casting long, dancing shadows that seem to stretch and morph into ancient shapes. The air, still carrying the lingering scent of roasted mammoth, has grown heavy with warmth and contentment. The boisterous energy of the successful hunt begins to subside, replaced by a deeper, more reflective atmosphere. This is the time for storytelling, for the quiet rituals that bind your clan together, connecting the living to the long line of those who came before. You settle near the fire, drawing your thick fur cloak tighter around you as the cave air cools. The older members of the clan, those whose faces are deeply etched with the wisdom of countless seasons, begin to speak in low, rhythmic tones. Their voices, like the embers, flicker and glow, painting vivid pictures in the minds of the listeners. They recount tales of legendary hunts, of cunning predators outsmarted, of harsh winters endured. These aren't just entertainment. They are living histories, lessons disguised as narratives, passing on crucial knowledge about the land, the animals, and the very nature of survival. One elder, his eyes gleaming in the firelight, begins a story about a great bear, its fur as dark as the deepest cave, its roar capable of shaking the very ground. You listen intently, as do the children, their wide eyes reflecting the dancing flames. He describes the hunter's fear, their courage, and ultimately their triumph through cleverness rather than brute force. The story isn't just about the hunt, it's about respect for the formidable power of nature and the importance of unity within the clan. Historians still argue whether Neanderthals had complex oral traditions or a form of spoken language as intricate as modern humans. But in these moments, you experience the power of shared narrative, a language of grunts, gestures, and deeply expressive sounds that convey emotion and meaning beyond simple words. As the stories unfold, other, more subtle rituals begin. Someone might carefully place a small, smooth stone near the fire, a gesture of respect to the earth spirits. Another might hum a low, resonant tune, a melody passed down through countless generations, its meaning perhaps lost in the mists of time, but its emotional resonance still potent. You might join in your own voice, adding to the low, comforting drone. These are not grand ceremonies, but small, intimate acts of reverence, acknowledging the unseen forces that govern your world. They are moments of collective introspection, a silent agreement on the mysterious nature of existence, a quirky tidbit that sometimes crosses your mind. If you were capable of such abstract thought, is how much information is contained in a single gesture or grunt, a slight shift in posture, a particular intonation, a subtle movement of the eyes. It's an efficiency born of necessity, a language finely tuned for a world where quick understanding could mean the difference between life and death. It's like a super condensed form of communication, making modern debates about texting shorthand seem comically verbose by comparison. The fire slowly diminishes, its warmth still permeating the cave, but its light softening. The last story winds down, leaving a comfortable silence in its wake. The younger children, lulled by the warmth and the low voices, have begun to drift off to sleep, their small bodies curled against their mothers or older siblings. You feel a profound sense of peace settle over you. This is the culmination of a successful day, a full belly, the comfort of your clan, and the shared knowledge that strengthens your bonds. The mysteries of the universe, the spirits of the ancestors, the promise of tomorrow's hunt, all are held in the quiet glow of the dying fire. As the storytelling fades and the last embers of the fire settle into a deep, comforting glow, the social fabric of the clan becomes more apparent. The vastness of the world outside the cave, with its dangers and harsh realities, draws everyone closer. You observe the subtle dance of social bonds, the unspoken hierarchy, and the deep emotional connections that tie each individual to the group. In your world, solitary existence is a death sentence, making these relationships the true bedrock of survival. You notice the quiet comfort exchanged between a mother and her grown daughter, a shared glance that conveys a lifetime of understanding. Young men and women, their faces illuminated by the soft light, gravitate towards each other, their casual brushes and lingering looks a testament to the primal urge to pair bond and continue the lineage. There's a quiet courtship happening, not with flowers or whispered sweet nothings, but with shared food, helpful gestures, and subtle displays of strength and resourcefulness. A young male might offer a particularly well-napped tool, or a female might share a choice piece of foraged root. These are the small, significant gestures of affection in your world. Historians still argue whether Neanderthals practiced monogamy, polygamy, or a more fluid form of pair bonding. But for you, observing your clan, it's clear that stable partnerships are valued. They provide a reliable unit for foraging, child rearing, and mutual protection. You see couples who have been together for many seasons, their movements synchronized, their understanding of each other so profound it often seems telepathic. The responsibilities are shared, the burdens eased by two sets of hands and minds working in unison. You yourself might have a mate, or you might be looking for one, or perhaps you're content in your current role within the clan, contributing in other vital ways. The social dynamics are fluid, but always centered around the survival and well-being of the group. there's a strong sense of reciprocity. Those who contribute are valued, and those who need help receive it without question. A quirky tidbit about your social life is that personal space, as a modern human might understand it, is practically non-existent. You live, sleep, and eat in close proximity. The concept of a private room would be utterly baffling. Your privacy comes from the vastness of the wilderness, not from walls or doors. The very air you breathe is shared, warmed by the collective breath of your family. The older members of the clan act as repositories of knowledge and wisdom. They are the living libraries, holding the accumulated experiences of generations. You often seek their counsel, listening patiently as they recall how to find water during a drought, or the best way to track a wounded animal, or the signs that foretell a particularly harsh winter. Their stories, shared around the fire, are not just for entertainment, but for education, preserving the collective memory of the clan. As the night deepens, you see pairs or small family units settling into their sleeping places. The cave, once a bustling hub of activity, slowly quiets. The low murmur of voices fades into the gentle snores of sleeping individuals. The warmth of bodies huddled together provides a collective shield against the encroaching cold. You feel the presence of your fellow clan members all around you, a comforting blanket of shared existence. The social bonds, forged in the crucible of survival, are the true strength of your people, a shield against the vast, unforgiving world outside. The deep calm of the sleeping cave is a fragile truce, even as you drift towards sleep, nestled amongst your kin. The world outside remains a relentless force, always poised to challenge your very existence. You feel the subtle shift in the air, a colder current seeping into the cave, a whispered promise of the weather to come. Surviving a Neanderthal day isn't just about finding food or fending off predators. It's a constant battle against the elements themselves. You recall a time when a sudden, fierce blizzard descended without warning, trapping your clan in a less secure shelter. The wind howled like a hungry wolf, tearing at the makeshift coverings, threatening to rip away your only protection. The cold was an insidious enemy, seeping into your bones, numbing your fingers and toes. You huddled together, a living knot of warmth, sharing body heat, feeding the meager fire with every available twig. That experience, etched deep into your memory, taught you the profound respect and healthy fear you hold for the raw power of nature. The rain, when it comes, is often just as challenging as the snow. It turns the ground to treacherous mud, making hunting difficult and travel slow. It soaks through your hide clothing, leaving you chilled and vulnerable. You've spent days feeling perpetually damp, the cold seeping into your muscles, making every movement an effort. There's no escaping it, no warm, dry house to retreat to. You simply endure, drying out by the fire whenever a lull allows, relying on the natural oils in your well-worked hides to provide some resistance. Historians still argue whether Neanderthals had advanced waterproofing techniques for their clothing, but for you, it's a constant trial and error, a never-ending quest for better protection. Sometimes the challenges aren't about extreme cold or wet, but subtle, creeping threats. A prolonged drought can shrivel the berry bushes and dry up the streams, forcing your clan to travel further to unfamiliar and potentially dangerous territories in search of water. or an unseasonably warm spell might melt the permafrost, making the ground boggy and difficult to traverse, attracting swarms of biting insects that make life miserable. There's no escaping the impact of climate. You are utterly at its mercy, every change directly influencing your daily struggle for survival. A quirky tidbit that might make you chuckle if you had the concept of weather forecasts is how useless they would be. Your forecast is the ache in your joints, the direction of the wind, the look of the clouds, the behavior of the animals. You are your own meteorologist, reading the subtle signs that a modern human glued to a screen would completely miss. You might feel a specific twinge in your knee that tells you a storm is brewing, or notice how the birds are flying low, a sure sign of impending rain. Your body, finely tuned to its environment, is a barometer, a thermometer, and a compass, all in one. Even the simple act of finding shelter is a constant negotiation with the elements. You seek out caves that offer protection from the prevailing winds, those with entrances that face away from the harshest storms. You learn which rock overhangs offer reliable cover and which are prone to collapses. Every location is chosen not just for its proximity to resources, but for its resilience against the forces of nature. As you finally drift off to sleep, you pull your thick animal hides closer, a small but vital barrier between your vulnerable form and the vast, indifferent power of the prehistoric world outside. The subtle whisper of the wind outside the cave entrance is the lullaby of your existence. The deep sleep of the cave is occasionally punctuated by the distant sounds of the wild. But tonight, there's something different. A subtle tension, almost imperceptible, hangs in the cold air. You wake with a start, your senses immediately alert. It's not the familiar cry of a predator or the rustle of a foraging animal. It's the scent on the wind, a faint, unfamiliar human smell, carried from beyond your usual hunting grounds. You sit up slowly, reaching for your spear. Others in the clan are stirring too, their movements equally cautious. The air is charged with a silent question. Are they friend or foe? The world you inhabit is not empty. There are other hominins, other groups, traversing the vast landscape. Sometimes these encounters are neutral, perhaps a cautious avoidance. Other times they can be fraught with danger. You recall stories passed down by the elders, tales of skirmishes over prime hunting grounds, or of strange groups with even stranger customs. As dawn breaks, the scent is stronger. A small scouting party, including yourself, moves out, cautiously tracking the unfamiliar traces. You move through the dense undergrowth, your spear held ready, your eyes scanning every shadow. You find evidence of their passage, a freshly broken branch, a distinctive footprint in the soft earth, a discarded bone gnawed clean. These aren't your people's signs. The tools they use, judging by the marks left behind, are subtly different, their napping styles distinct. Historians still argue whether Neanderthals had extensive interactions with anatomically modern humans or other hominin groups like Denisovans. But you know that encounters, however rare, do happen. You come upon their camp, or rather, the remnants of it. They've moved on, but not long ago. The embers of their fire are still warm, a faint wisp of smoke curling into the cold morning air. You approach with extreme caution, your hand tightly gripping your weapon. You see discarded tools, different from your own, yet undeniably functional. There are spear points, scrapers, and even some small, finely worked bone needles, perhaps. A quirky tidbit you notice is a piece of ochre, bright red, used to mark a stone near their fire. A strange, decorative touch that feels both alien and strangely familiar. Your people sometimes use ochre, but usually for more practical purposes, like preserving hides or perhaps for very simple body markings, not as overt territorial claims. Your leader grunts, a low, thoughtful sound. Is this a challenge, a warning, or simply a passage? The decision of how to respond to another group is always complex. An open conflict could lead to injury or death, depleting your already small numbers. Yet, allowing them unchallenged passage through your hunting grounds could mean fewer resources for your own clan. It's a delicate balance, a constant negotiation between aggression and cautious diplomacy, all conducted without a shared language in the modern sense. You examine the camp more closely. There are no clear signs of aggression, no obvious threats left behind. Just the echoes of another group, living lives much like your own, yet distinct. Perhaps they are hunting the same migratory herds, moving along parallel paths. Perhaps they are just passing through, seeking new territories. You feel a strange mix of apprehension and curiosity. What are their stories? What are their rituals? You might never know. As the sun climbs higher, warming the air, your group decides to move away, to keep a respectful distance for now. You mark the area, leaving subtle signs for your own clan, communicating the presence of others without inviting direct confrontation. The world, you realize, is larger and more complex than you often imagine from the safety of your cave. The encounter with the traces of another hominin group lingers in your mind, a subtle ripple in the otherwise predictable rhythm of your daily life. But the vast wilderness holds other, more intimate challenges, the quiet battles against illness and injury that constantly threaten the well-being of your clan. Despite your robust nature and incredibly strong physique, you are not immune to the vulnerabilities of the flesh. A sprained ankle, a deep cut from a sharp rock, a sudden fever, these can quickly become life-threatening in a world without modern medicine. You remember the collective anxiety when one of the younger hunters returned to the cave with a deep gash on his arm, inflicted by a boar's tusk during a recent hunt. The wound was raw and angry, quickly becoming infected. There were no antiseptics, no stitches, no antibiotics. Instead, the older women, who possess a profound knowledge of the local flora, quickly set to work. They crushed specific leaves, perhaps from willow or poplar, known for their pain-relieving properties, and applied a poultice of chewed-up plants with natural antimicrobial qualities. You watched, hoping, as they bound the wound tightly with strips of soft hide, a practical bandage to keep dirt out and pressure on. The next few days were fraught with worry. The hunter was feverish, his body trembling. You brought him cool water from the stream, helped him shift positions, and kept a vigil by his side. It was a communal effort, a testament to the deep bonds of care within your clan. Historians still argue whether Neanderthals had true healers or shamans, but you know that certain individuals, often the elders, held specialized knowledge of medicinal plants and practical first aid passed down through generations. Their skill, combined with the body's own remarkable ability to heal, was often the only hope. Sometimes the illness isn't visible. A silent invader within the body, a persistent cough, a debilitating stomach sickness that leaves a person weak and unable to hunt or forage. These are perhaps even more frightening, as their cause is mysterious. In such times, the ill are kept warm, offered nourishing broths made from boiled bones, and surrounded by the comforting presence of their kin. You've seen individuals waste away despite all efforts, a somber reminder of the fragility of life. But you've also seen astonishing recoveries, moments when the body, with a little support, triumphs over adversity. A quirky tidbit that sometimes puzzles you is the sheer tenacity of life itself. A child, grievously ill, might rally unexpectedly. An older hunter, hobbled by a leg injury that would doom a lone individual, thrives within the communal care of the clan. It's as if the collective will to survive, the constant shared effort, somehow bolsters individual resilience. You don't have hospitals or clinics, but you have the raw, visceral understanding of interdependence. Your survival is inextricably linked to the health of your family. You yourself might have suffered injuries, bear scars that tell stories of your own close calls, perhaps a broken bone that healed imperfectly, leaving a slight limp, or a missing finger from an accident with a sharp tool. These are not weaknesses, but badges of survival, visual reminders of the relentless challenges overcome. As you drift back towards a fitful sleep, the gentle breathing of your family around you is a profound comfort. In this harsh, beautiful world, the greatest medicine is often the unwavering presence and care of your kin. The moon, a sliver of bone in the vast star-dusted sky, casts a faint ethereal glow over the silent landscape. Within the cave, the usual sounds of sleep are punctuated tonight by a different, somber quiet. The air is heavy with sorrow, a profound sadness that touches every member of your clan. Her breath, which had warmed the cave for so long, has finally stilled. Death is a stark reality in your world, a constant companion that walks hand in hand with life. There are no illusions of immortality, no grand medical interventions to prolong the inevitable. When a life ends, it is accepted with a deep, primal understanding of the cycle of existence. Yet, acceptance does not diminish the grief. You feel the dull ache in your chest, the profound sense of loss for a presence that was once so vital to your shared survival. The clan gathers, not with panicked cries, but with a quiet, solemn dignity. The body of the elder is carefully prepared. Her knees are drawn to her chest, her limbs arranged in a fetal position, as if in eternal slumber. Perhaps a few simple ornaments are placed with her, a favorite smooth stone, a specially crafted bone pendant. These are not symbols of wealth, but tokens of affection, reminders of a life lived and valued. Historians still argue about the precise meaning of Neanderthal burial practices, whether they were purely practical, aimed at keeping scavengers away, or imbued with deep spiritual significance. For you, in this moment, it is an act of profound respect, a final farewell to someone who was a part of you. You help carry her to a shallow grave dug within the cave, or sometimes just outside, in a place specifically chosen. The earth is cold and unforgiving, but the act of digging, of creating a final resting place, is a way to channel the grief, a tangible expression of care. As the earth is carefully mounded over her, you might place a stone or a piece of bone on the makeshift grave marker, a silent acknowledgement of her presence. The silence that follows is not empty. It is filled with memory, with the echoes of her stories, her wisdom, her laughter, a quirky tidbit that might strike an outside observer. Though not you, in your grief, is the utter lack of elaborate monuments. There are no grand pyramids, no ornate sarcophagi. The only lasting monuments are the memories held within the minds of the living and the skills and knowledge she passed on. Her legacy isn't carved in stone. It's etched into the very fabric of your clan's survival, in the way you nap a tool, or identify a medicinal plant, or tell a story around the fire. As the ceremony concludes, a sense of quiet reverence settles over the group. The loss is real, a wound in the heart of the clan, but life must continue. The hunters will hunt, the foragers will forage, and the children will play. The elder's spirit, you believe, will become part of the land, part of the wind that whispers through the trees, part of the animals that roam the plains. This belief, whatever its precise form, offers a measure of comfort, a continuity that transcends the finality of death. You feel the weight of existence, the beauty and brutality intertwined, as you prepare to face another night, another day, without her physical presence, but with her memory forever woven into the tapestry of your Neanderthal family. A quirky tidbit that might flit through your fading awareness, if you could articulate it, is the incredible clarity of your senses. Every scent, every sound, every texture is amplified, crucial for survival. There's no background hum of technology, no endless stream of information to dull your perception. You live in a world of raw input, where every whisper of wind, every distant animal cry holds meaning. Your world is stripped down, primal, intensely vivid. Your breathing deepens, slowing into the rhythmic cadence of sleep. The sounds of your clan become a soft, comforting chorus, a snore, a sigh, the gentle shift of a body. You are not alone. You are part of something ancient, something resilient, a thread in the vast, interwoven tapestry of life. Your life is hard, brutally so, but it is also filled with moments of profound connection, of shared purpose, and of the fierce joy that comes from simplest. The night deepens, wrapping the ancient world in its silent embrace. You finally settle into your sleeping furs. The chill of the cave is a familiar presence, but the warmth radiating from your huddled clan members creates a small, vital pocket of comfort. The day, like all days, has been a relentless cycle of demands, a constant negotiation with survival. You have hunted, foraged, taught, crafted, mourned, and celebrated. Now, as your body grows heavy with exhaustion, your mind begins to drift. Replaying the day's events in a fragmented sequence, you recall the sharp tang of wild onion this morning, the satisfying heft of a freshly napped tool in your hand, the intense focus of the hunt, the joyous relief when the mammoth was finally brought down. You feel again the sticky warmth of fresh blood on your hands as you butchered the meat, the crackle of the fire as the first pieces roasted, and the deep, guttural satisfaction of a full belly. These are the visceral realities of your existence. The focused intensity of the hide scraper, the vast, silent beauty of the plains under the rising sun, and then the profound sadness of the elder's passing, the quiet dignity of her burial, a wound that will slowly mend but never fully disappear. Historians still argue whether Neanderthals had dreams, or if their sleep was as restless and practical as their waking hours. But you feel the edge of consciousness softening, thoughts dissolving into a deeper realm. Why enduring the cave? Your sanctuary seems to embrace you, holding you safe from the cold, the predators, the relentless forces of the outside world. The fire, now a bed of deep red embers, pulses with a gentle warmth, a guardian flame in the heart of your temporary home. You are a Neanderthal, a survivor, a part of a lineage that has faced unimaginable challenges and, through sheer tenacity and communal strength, has persisted. The thought fades, replaced by the soft blanket of unconsciousness. The darkness deepens, and the world outside the cave continues its slow, majestic rotation, indifferent to the lives that unfold within its vast embrace. The moon climbs higher, casting its silent watch over the ancient forests and the slumbering plains. All is quiet now, the rustle of fur as someone shifts, the gentle, rhythmic breathing of the clan, a soft hum that fills the cave. The warmth of bodies pressed together, a living, breathing huddle against the cold, is a testament to shared existence, to the simple, profound comfort of not being alone in the vast, indifferent wilderness. Your own breath grows slow and even, your muscles relax, your mind finally surrenders to the pull of slumber. The images of the day, the hunt, the laughter, the sorrow, all recede, blending into the quiet peace of the night. Sleep now, deeply, and without worry, held safe in the heart of your ancient family.